Here's the final build of my slow drip beverage pourer. It's pretty simple. You just sit your glass here and it'll automatically pour your favorite drink. This plate is on an arm that acts as a lever. It pivots at the back, pulling down this wire you can see in here, which in turn pulls on this little L-shaped lever, which transfers the downward pulling force to a horizontal push in, if you can see it there, this little rod, which slides through this block and pushes against this bit here, which opens up this valve here, which is just a little rubberized steel ball, ensuring that your beverage of choice drips down into your glass. It works pretty well, though the seal is not perfect. So, why did I do this? Well, the first reason was Mark Rober's creative engineering course. This is my build for the first project. We're making something to solve a food-related problem, and the engineering design process brought me to this. Which brings me to my second reason. I rather enjoy sitting down to a nice adult beverage, though sometimes it's pretty easy to have one and then one more and then one more and then... So, this seemed like a good problem to solve, with a little bit of ingenuity. My original plan to meet the requirements I'd set out was to have like a little button that was on timer that could only be activated once every hour, and it would automatically pour 50 milliliters and then stop, or something like that. While running through design options, I realized that if I just made it drip slowly, it would meet both the once per hour requirement and the 50 milliliters at a time requirement in one go, with the added bonus of adding a barrier to entry to actually taking a drink. So win-win. So how has this improved since my prototype? Pretty much everything has changed except for the frame. The valve was not reliably closing. It was partially closing, still dripping out lots, so it got pretty messy. One of the classmates suggested moving the mechanism horizontally, like moving the valve horizontally, since it wasn't pouring out fast, and that way there shouldn't be much liquid getting onto the seal. That was a really cool idea because it also meant that I could put stronger springs on it to make it seal much tighter. Still didn't work properly, but to overcome these stronger springs here, I had to think more carefully about the leverage mechanisms and the leverage ratios in there. So I didn't know exactly how much force was needed, so I just kind of over-engineered it. So at the top here I've got about a 3-to-1 ratio, down the bottom about a 6-to-1. Giving a total combined ratio of about 18 times like force multiplication. Turned out to be a little bit too much because once I hooked it all up and put the glass on, it was just overpowering the original spring I had straight away. I've added 3 springs in total, as you can see, plus 1 just down here. The final change was stiffening the whole mechanism. So I made the plate fixed to the arm so it couldn't move around at all. And then the pivot points at the back here, where the 2 levers attach to, I made those much more rigid, tightened the tolerances a lot where the pins go through, and actually fashioned some pins out of 1/8 inch steel rod. So that way things aren't moving around much at all like it was with the wire that I had there previously. This meant that I could do away with the, there was like vertical supports on there, which was causing lots of friction. So get rid of those altogether, and then the build plate just levers up and down, as you can see. It works so much better. There's a quick aesthetic touch when I really should have been wrapping up and filming this video, so it's far too late at night. I gave the build plate just a little burnt wood look. Real blowtorch. Some extra bolts because spare parts I had lying around and there were holes in there, so just cleaned that up a little bit, and gave the whole base plate here a sort of a brushed aluminium look, or aluminum for your American folks. And this is just some aluminium tape over the top bit of steel wool or bit of a scourer here I had sitting around the shed, the garage, and just scrub that on it and just dulls it up a bit. And I think it turned out pretty well. It's, you know, nothing to write home about, but a bit of fun. So anyway, that's my slow drip drink pourer. I certainly learned a lot while building this. A lot about how important tolerances are in, you know, like mechanical builds. I learned a lot about using hot glue. Mark Rober suggested that as a quick and dirty way of getting things together, and wow, that was just an amazing revelation. I'd never really used it before, at least not in any significant way. And I mean, there's hot glue here, like all of this is attached with hot glue. All of this is hot glue. Little supports in here all hot glued in, just everything. It's great. I think it's my new favorite thing. And I also learned that with this sliding mechanism in here, wood swells when it gets wet. And so when you're expecting a steel rod to be able to slide through nicely, it won't after a few minutes exposed to water. So silicone lubricant and a lot more drilling came in really handy. Anyway, thanks for watching.